Hello, everyone. Today I will be talking to y'all about social anxiety disorder, and it's also known as social phobia disorder. Okay, so social anxiety is the third largest mental health care problem in the world today. And I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about what is actually social anxiety disorder. Okay, social anxiety disorder, also sometimes referred as social phobia, is a type of anxiety disorder that causes extreme fear in social settings. So, people with this disorder often find themselves having trouble talking to people, meeting new people, and attending social gatherings. They also fear being judged or scrutinized by others. Social anxiety is different from shyness. Shyness is short term and doesn't disrupt one's life. Social anxiety is persistent and debilitating. It can affect one's abilities to work, attend school, develop close relationships with people outside of their family. According to the Anxiety Depression Association of America, approximately 15 million American adults have social anxiety disorder. Symptoms may start around the age of 13 years old. And here are a few symptoms for social anxiety disorder. Like when you're around people and you start blushing, and then sometimes you may get nausea or have excessive sweating, trembling or shaking, difficulty speaking, dizziness or lightheadedness, and rapid heartbeat. So, is there any one of y'all out here that feel like y'all have trouble doing that when y'all talking to somebody?
I do.
Mackenzie?
Well, once around new people, I have tendencies to tremble just a little, but it don't be nothing out of the ordinary. Once I get the flow of talking out, I be a-okay.
Anybody else? Now, here are some psychological symptoms of social anxiety: worrying intensely about social situations, worrying for days or weeks before an event, avoiding social situations or trying to blend into the background if you must attend, worrying about embarrassing yourself in a social situation, needing alcohol to face a social situation, missing school or work because of anxiety, worrying other people will notice you are stressed or nervous. Now, these symptoms are, when I read about this, it really surprised me because I did not know that it was that serious for people to, I guess, especially drink alcohol before, you actually talk. So, does anybody have anything to say about this, on how y'all feel?
I be feeling all right.
I'm saying, how do you feel about what I just said? Do you feel like it's that serious for people to get these ways when they get ready to talk in front of somebody?
Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible to be like that, but I mean, it's just a symptom, I reckon, that people have. Because a lot of people can't talk to folks, or talk in the quiet or anything like that. And sometimes people can't even talk to one-on-one. They get sweaty and they sort of speechless and things like that. But I can talk around, especially if I know you. If I don't know yet, I don't
You
talk a whole lot with you. But I say this, but you know, people want to know a lot, and so I sort of hold back.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Crawford?
Yes, I would like to elaborate on an experience I had once before, and it was here in the church, and I didn't realize it was a problem, or even I had that type of problem, and I think it's a type of anxiety. And as I was reading, I began to choke up somehow, and wasn't speaking, well, I was speaking clearly, but it wasn't flowing like I desired it to be. And I think it was simply because I would say that I was pretty much center of attention, and I was maybe, I believe I was asked at the last moment or the spur of the moment, and I wasn't like prepared. And as I read, I began, you know, to get choked up, and I was nervous, and it would seem like, you know, all eyes was on me, you know, and I was just the center of attention. And I began to, you know, just sort of freeze up, like, you know, and so I just didn't realize that that was a big problem, I guess, or some type of problem, but I guess it's anxiety.
It's social anxiety disorder. You had it in social setting.
Oh, okay, well, I guess that's one of my, you know, problems or whatever, but.
Well, I have a question.
All right, hold on, she has a question.
Is that something that, social anxiety, is that something that, I know it don't have a particular age that it occurs in, but is it something that you can overcome? Or is it something that will just be with you or until you just get comfortable in that spot, or is it something that you can overcome?
Yes, it is something that you can overcome, and as I continue my lecture, I was going to go into that.
Okay, thank
So we will answer your question for sure in a few. Okay, so with social anxiety disorder, you may avoid all social situations, including asking a question, job interviews, shopping, using public restrooms, talking on the phone, and eating in public. So this is something very severe if it, you know, occurs to you that seriously, or if it applies to you that seriously. This can really take over your life. What causes social anxiety disorder? The exact cause of social phobia is unknown. So they don't really know what actually causes it, what brings it about. Current research supports the idea that it is caused by a combination of environmental factors and genetics. So that's what research seems to think is what causes social anxiety. Negative experiences also may contribute to this disorder, including bullying, family conflict, and sexual abuse. Physical abnormalities such as serotonin imbalance may contribute to this condition. And the definition of serotonin is a chemical in the brain that helps regulate mood. And overactive amygdala, a structure in the brain that controls fear response and feelings or thoughts of anxiety, may also cause these disorders. So here's an important fact. Anxiety disorders can run in families. Researchers aren't sure if they're actually linked to genetic factors. For example, a child might develop an anxiety disorder by learning the behavior of one of their parents who has an anxiety disorder. Children can also develop anxiety disorders as a result of being raised in controlling or overprotective environments. So how do y'all feel about that being said? That the children can get up and have anxiety by being raised in controlling or overprotective environments.
Silent consent.
Okay. So here's the treatments for social anxiety disorder. Treatment varies from person to person with social anxiety. Some people may get referred to a mental health provider, or primary care providers may suggest medication to treat symptoms. Here are a few treatment options for social anxiety. The first one is cognitive behavioral therapy. This therapy helps you learn how to control anxiety through relaxation and breathing, and how to replace negative thoughts with positive ones. So if people are about to give a speech and they find themselves, sweating or feeling nausea, or like just feeling like they're really getting frustrated, then they would tell you to think positive about the situation, relax, and just breathe. Take your time. Okay, she has a question.
Not a question, but
Oh, she wants to give her input.
not a question, but I do want to say, being that I am in the, I work with the Coffee County Board of Education at Eastside Elementary School, and dealing with kids that are self-contained kids. We have several kids in there that do that are in the program that suffers with anxiety. And I noticed that, and not just really working with one on a day-to-day basis, but once I became part of this, and I see how the kids are, and we have one particular student. He's very he has anxiety. I mean, I guess I would say to the max. And interchange in the room, interchange in a daily activity, and I understand. I see why the primary teacher, Mrs. Castor, I understand why she do everything on a daily routine. She do everything in the same order every day. That's 300, however many days we're in school. She do the same routine every day. Because if you change it, I notice if you change him out of the ordinary. So I take this kid to a different class. I one day lined him up in a different order, and he just really he just got out of control. So I presented it back to the primary teacher, and so she let me know that this kid suffers from a very strong anxiety system. So, and she said you cannot do anything out of the ordinary. He has to have the same thing every day. So that was my experience on dealing with a person with anxiety, and now I'm really not alone by the different stuff that goes with anxiety. After working with it and seeing how it works, and so this kid, he has to take the max of medicine in order to keep himself calm.
Thank you for that. That's can be very serious. Okay, the next one is exposure therapy. This type of therapy helps you gradually face social situations rather than avoiding them. So people, sometimes they'll avoid the social interaction between people, and exposure is just, pretty much what it says. It's exposing you to, social interaction, so you can not, be so nervous and shy when you get around people. The next treatment option is group therapy. It helps you learn social skills and techniques to interact with people in social settings. Participating in group therapy with others who have the same fears may make you feel less alone. So people with anxiety tend to feel alone simply because they are not socially active, and they do not participate in things with people in them. So when you are exposed to group therapy, it'll teach you how to be social, how to interact, and to make you feel like, hey, you're not alone here. Here's other people here that you can interact with and learn on how to interact with them. They have at-home treatments for anxiety, and this may shock some of you, but it says avoiding caffeine. Coffee, chocolate, and soda are stimulants and may increase anxiety. And the definition of stimulant is a substance that raises levels of psychological or nervous activity in the body. So when you have this caffeine, chocolate, coffee, stuff like that, it just, may make you all, shook up even more and cause you to be nervous when you get ready to be in a social setting. So they tell you to avoid those things, and that's at home treatments. Getting plenty of sleep. 8 hours of sleep is what is required for you. And people with social anxiety disorder, they need that. They need plenty of sleep. And here's the outlook for social anxiety disorder. According to the ADAA, about 36% of people with social anxiety don't speak to a healthcare provider until they have had symptoms for at least 10 years. Social phobia doesn't have to control your life, although it may take weeks or months. Psychotherapy and or medication can help you feel calmer and more confident in social situations. And here are some questions that I have for you guys. So the first question is, does anybody in the audience get extremely fearful when talking to a certain person or in a specific setting? And if so, why? And this can be somebody that that is very important to you, or you may be like, oh my gosh, let's say for instance, you're at work and your boss is around. And you may not have been there that long, but seeing him coming and you have to speak to him may get you jittery, or you may begin to sweat and things like that. So have anybody had an experience like that before? Even though you may not be that way, has anybody had an experience where they have been really fearful of speaking to someone important or in a specific setting?
Well, I wasn't. I guess I can't say I was just a little not scared, but it has been to the point where I had to inhale. I had to inhale and exhale with a deep breath, and that was from getting before a crowd to sing when I was put on the spur of the moment. So that's something that has taken place. But for as speaking to people, sitting down before the overseer, the boss man, or however you may say it, I've never been to the point that I was just maybe struck of fear, or had to inhale, exhale, or had to just breathe heavy or sweaty. But for singing, I have, and I believe I've overcome that.
Anyone else?
Well, I used to get very nervous before I went to work. With me being a nurse, I always have to talk to patients. They all have different situations. Sometimes I felt like I couldn't get the right words out or can encourage them, and that used to make me very nervous, very anxious. But now I've overcome that. I've been a nurse for 2 years now, and I guess the exposure that Taylor talks about, the exposure helped me get along with things.
Thank you so much. Okay, the next question will be, which group do you guys think social anxiety disorder is affecting the most? Young children, college students, adults, or older people?
college student.
I say college students.
College students, okay.
I would say college students.
You guys are right. It affects college students the most. Simply because they are, at that time, they are all getting into their, I guess, spots of their life that they're going to be in for, a pretty long time. And you get exposed to more things for socially interacting with different people from all cultures, different backgrounds from you, and things like that. So when you're around them, you're interacting, it can sometimes, cause you to be nervous because that's not what you're used to being around. So getting more exposed to different classes and things where you have to speak in front of people is a good thing. Like me, I used to didn't like to talk in front of the class, do group projects, presentations, because I felt like all eyes was going to be on me, which it is. And it used to make me really nervous because my thing was I just didn't want to mess up. And if I messed up, I didn't know what to do if I messed up. Do I keep going, or do I just run out of the classroom? But that will make it worse. So I just said, well, I just, think of a joke or something if I messed up, for them to laugh or something about it. So that's how I deal with that. Okay, the third question, how do you guys feel about people developing social anxiety disorder by controlling and overprotective households? And I think I've already touched on that, but nobody really answered. So I'm gonna need for somebody to give me some feedback on how you feel about children developing social anxiety disorder by being in controlling or overprotective households.
So you're speaking as the parent being controlling of the kid,
Controlling or overprotective environments.
overprotecting, and what you say as if in that can cause anxiety.
How do you
Okay.
feel about that?
Well, I've never experienced that. I couldn't say, but out of my 5 kids, I don't think I've been controlling, just parenting, but not controlling. So, or to that fact, they may think different, but I don't think I have. But I have listened to people, whereas up there, they spoke about their parents, how they were. Never nothing was right. Never nothing they did was the right thing, and they spoke about, and the kid is an adult now, and they spoke on how they had to go and talk to other people in order to deal with that, because the parent didn't think that it was a problem for them to maybe be placed on medication or anything of that sort, and it led to not having the braveness to speak in public. So I can't say I experienced it in my home, but I have talked to people where that was a major factor.
Thank you so much. We have another audience member who wants to give his input.
Well, coming up from a very controlling and just firm household by my parents, anxiety never lived inside of me because I just knew what I had to do to deal with they tactics and just how they did things. So, far as me having anxiety and feeling a certain type of way due to they teaching and the way they are, I don't feel like that affected me, but I can't speak for the next individual, so if you would like to elaborate more on what I was talking about, you may do so at this time.
Well, me, I came up in a firm household, being a preacher's daughter, and when my friends used to go to the movies and they used to do stuff, I didn't get to do it. It's just because, it's not because my parents were mean, they wanted to protect me. So now, being 24, I'm playing catch up. Like my friends said, let's go somewhere, I'll go somewhere. I might be nervous at first and I get over it. So that's my little input on it.
Thank y'all so much, and I have one more question for you guys, and we will be finished. Okay, which treatment would you guys pick to better yourselves if you had social anxiety disorder? And the treatments that we talked about were cognitive behavioral therapy. This therapy helps you learn how to control anxiety through relaxation and breathing, and how to replace negative thoughts with positive ones. Exposure therapy. This type of therapy helps you gradually face social situations rather than avoiding them. And group therapy, which helps you learn social skills and techniques to interact with people in social settings. Participating in group therapy with others who have the same fears as you. So which treatment would you guys pick to better yourselves if y'all had social anxiety? Exposure therapy, group therapy, or cognitive behavioral therapy? And each one of y'all will have to answer and why.
And speak on that cognitive, what was that again?
Cognitive behavioral therapy is when it helps you learn how to control anxiety through relaxation and breathing, and how to replace negative thoughts with positive ones. So out of all these treatments that I asked you, Sega, which one would you choose to better yourself if you had social anxiety?
The
Cognitive
cognitive behavior.
Okay. And that's the one where it helps you learn how to control anxiety through relaxation and breathing. Next,
I would have to say cognitive.
Okay.
cognitive.
I would probably have to say maybe group therapy.
Okay. Group therapy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What would you say?
Probably say, maybe group therapy.
Okay.
Group therapy.
Explain. Group therapy.
Okay, group therapy.
Exposure.
Okay.
Exposure therapy.
Can you give me the definition of the group setting or an exposure again?
Okay, exposure is this type of therapy helps you gradually face social situations rather than avoiding them. And group is when you learn social skills and techniques to interact with people in social settings. Participating in group therapy with others who have the same fears as you, which will make you feel less alone.
And I had to think if I would just inhale, exhale, because that's how I do.
Yeah, breathe.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm flowing with the flow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thank y'all so much for your participation. And this video will be on YouTube, and a little later on I will need for y'all to make YouTube accounts so y'all can get on and respond to the video itself. So I thank y'all again. Please clap.